Welcome back to the channel, coin hunters and American history fans. If you enjoy discovering the stories, secrets, and genuine value hidden inside old US coins, make sure you subscribe and stay with us, because today, we are looking at two very different generations of American quarters. One takes us all the way back to 1848, when the United States was expanding westward and silver coins were an important part of everyday commerce. The other takes us to 2004, when millions of Americans were searching their pocket change for the brand new state quarters. And here is the fascinating part. Neither date automatically means big money. The real question is what version of the coin you have, where it was made, how well it survived, and whether it contains a recognized variety or error. So look closely, because a tiny detail can change everything. Let's begin with the 1848 Liberty-seated quarter. Imagine opening an old family collection and finding a quarter dated 1848. It might look completely different from the Washington quarters we know today. That is because this coin belongs to the Liberty-seated quarter series, a design used during the 19th century. On the obverse, or front, you see Liberty seated on a rock, holding a staff topped with a Liberty cap. The reverse carries a heraldic eagle surrounded by inscriptions. The design is associated with Christian Gobrecht, while the Liberty-seated quarter type is also connected with engraver Robert Ball Hughes. The 1848 quarter was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, so it carries no mint mark. And this is where the story becomes interesting. The 1848 Liberty-seated quarter had a reported mintage of only 146,000 pieces. It was struck from approximately 90% silver and 10% copper, weighs about 6.74 grams, and measures approximately 24.3 millimeters across. For comparison, the modern quarter in your pocket has a completely different composition and design. The 1848 coin is also historically fascinating because it was produced during a period of enormous change in American history. The California gold rush began transforming the nation's economy and population, while the United States was rapidly expanding westward. But now comes the important question: what should you actually look for? First, examine the date carefully. Specialists have documented repunching characteristics on 1848 quarters, and examples can show noticeable differences around the digits of the date. One documented 1848 example with the repunch date sold for $1,495 in an Ms. 62 grade. And condition matters enormously. An ordinary circulated 1848 quarter is valuable because it is an early silver coin with a relatively low mintage. But a superb mint state example can move into a completely different category. PCG's records an auction result of $21,150 for an 1848 Liberty-seated quarter graded Ms. 67. That is not the value of every 1848 quarter, represents an extraordinary, high-grade specimen. That distinction is extremely important. If you find an 1848 quarter in an old drawer, don't assume it is automatically worth tens of thousands of dollars. The difference between a heavily circulated example and a professionally authenticated, exceptionally preserved specimen can be enormous. And there is another important lesson here. Do not clean the coin just because it looks old. Collectors generally want original surfaces, and aggressive cleaning can permanently damage the collectible value of an historic coin. Now, let's jump forward more than 150 years. Welcome to 2004. The United States Mint was in the middle of the hugely popular 50-state quarters program, and 5 new states received quarter designs that year: Michigan, Florida, Texas, Iowa, and Wisconsin. Like the 1848 Liberty-seated quarter, these were modern-clad Washington quarters. The familiar obverse continued to feature George Washington, based on the classic Washington quarter design, while each state's reverse presented a unique design. The standard clad composition was 75% copper and 25% nickel, with a diameter of approximately 24.3 millimeters and a weight of about 5.67 grams. Now, if you have a 2004 state quarter, don't rush to celebrate yet. The letter P means it was produced at the Philadelphia Mint. Many of these coins were struck in enormous quantities. For example, the 2004P Florida State Quarter had a mintage of about 240.2 million pieces. PCGs describes circulated examples as easy to find, with high-grade examples becoming progressively scarcer as the grade increases. So an ordinary circulated 2004P State Quarter is generally not a $1,000 coin, but there is a major exception that every collector should know about, and it comes from Wisconsin. The 2004D Wisconsin State Quarter became famous because collectors discovered two major varieties involving an apparent additional leaf near the ear of corn on the reverse. One is known as the extra leaf low, and the other is the extra leaf high. Look closely at the corn. This is not simply dirt. These varieties show an additional leaf-like feature that is not present on the normal Wisconsin design. PCGs recognizes both varieties, and the discovery became one of the most famous variety stories of the State Quarters era. And here's the twist. These famous Wisconsin varieties are associated with the Denver Mint, meaning the important coin to search for is the 2004D Wisconsin Quarter, not simply any 2004P quarter. This is exactly why the mint mark matters. The normal 2004D Wisconsin Quarter and the extra leaf varieties are completely different. Collecting targets and condition matters here too. Piegs's current price guide shows ordinary 2004D Wisconsin quarters at relatively modest levels in many mint state grades, while the recognized extra leaf varieties command substantially higher premiums. For example, a PCG's listed sale of a 2004D Wisconsin extra leaf low is 66, brought 385. That doesn't mean every extra leaf quarter is worth $385. It means that a specific authenticated coin in a specific grade achieved that result, and the high leaf variety can be scarcer than the low leaf variety. So if you have a 2000 for Wisconsin quarter, this is the moment to slow down. Turn it over. Let at the corn, check the mint mark, then compare the leaf structure carefully with a normal example. Don't rely on internet photographs alone if the difference is unclear. Authentication and professional attribution become especially important when a coin may have significant collector value. Now let's return to our bigger lesson. An 1848 quarter and a 2004P quarter may both say quarter, but their stories and values are completely different. The 1848 coin gets its importance from its age, silver composition, low mintage, historical context, and survival in high grades. The 2000 for state quarters can be common in ordinary condition, but certain varieties, especially the famous Wisconsin extra leaf varieties, can become much more desirable. And this is why you should never judge a coin simply by its date. A quarter is not automatically worth thousands because it is old. A modern quarter is not automatically worthless because millions were produced. The details tell the story. So if you have old family albums, inherited collections, coin jars, boxes in the attic, or rolls of older quarters, take another look. You might discover nothing more than a common coin, and that's perfectly fine, but you could also discover a scarce date, a recognized variety, an unusual mint error, or a coin preserved in extraordinary condition. And now comes the final question. Could one of these coins really be worth serious money? For the 1848 Liberty-seated quarter, documented auction history shows that exceptional specimens can reach into the tens of thousands of dollars, including a recorded $21,150 result for an Ms. 67 example for an ordinary 2004P state quarter. However, the realistic expectation is usually much more modest. The real excitement comes from finding the unusual varieties, exceptional grades, or properly authenticated errors. That is the difference between a face value quarter and a genuine numismatic treasure. So before you spend that old quarter, look at the date. Let the mint mark. Let both sides. And most importantly, Look closely, because sometimes the smallest detail on a tiny piece of metal is what separates an ordinary coin from something collectors have been searching for. If you enjoyed this investigation, subscribe to the channel for more rare US coin history and value discoveries, and tell us in the comments, which old US quarter do you have in your collection? An 1848 Liberty seated quarter, a 2000 First State quarter, or something even older. And if you want another genuine rare coin investigation, stay tuned because the next coin in your collection might have a story you never expected.